Hello everyone, welcome back to the TJOmega channel for day 1251 of our daily content grind. Today I'm kind of in the mood to talk about the multi-pack. Hasbro put these off for a long time and they became like a specialty thing, but they always used to be like a staple in Transformers, dating all the way back to the original combiner sets. You know what? We're in an age where we're starting to get a whole bunch more. It seems like whatever random repaint retool that Hasbro has in mind, they'll just figure out some way of slapping it into some big multi-pack box just so you can get it out onto the shelves. We have had super bizarre ones, like the one you see on screen right now, which is literally just generic characters from throughout Transformer history that are good for troop building. We have also had things like poor Cliff Jumper having to face down two Decepticons and a Predacon at the same time, all from different universes, some of which it technically didn't exist. I'm looking at you, Tarantulas. Fun stuff, and the multi-packs are always great to see for just like random ideas Hasbro has, but it's also an opportunity to put out stuff that otherwise is not going to make it to market or does not have room in the normal wave assortments. So let's take a look. Here's just like a smattering of ideas I have for Transformer multi-packs that I would buy day one if Hasbro were to actually make them. Obviously, this is not a conclusive list. There are so many that we could name. There are so many that I came up with that I didn't include because I wanted to keep this short. I didn't want it to be like another 25-30 minute video like I've been doing lately. So let's just focus on a few. And the first one that came to mind is we still need a magenta hot rod. Like, for all the toys that they have been redoing from Studio Series 86 in order to remove the translucent plastic and do a more actual movie accurate paint job, we still only have the one release of Studio Series hot rod. And we know that Hasbro had a back and forth. Like, we know that there is an internal debate over what the coloration of hot rod needed to be. To date, the only hot rod toy we have gotten in the correct dark magenta color is the one that they did for the Retro G1 line with Walmart. And you know what? That's a really pretty looking hot rod. I would really like that in a very articulated modern hot rod, please. We have still yet to get it. Hot rod toys are always red when they come to the US. Even if they, even the Japanese version was correctly colored. So I'm still waiting for that. And the multi-packs and Studio Series are perfect for this. You do the magenta hot rod. You make the translucent blue windows go away. It's opaque dark blue. So we have one where you don't have super small and thin translucent hinges holding things together. That toy frightens me. And instead we get a nice solid version that should be more acceptable to the ravages of time, and it looks more movie accurate on top of all that. And in there you pack in some Sharkticons. Now, I know we've had plenty of chances to buy Sharkticons at retail, but let's be honest, they're Sharkticons. There's no excuse for not buying more. So in this set, you can modify them to be a little bit more screen accurate. They're already very close, but I would tone the dark gray down a few notches so the details popped out a little bit more. I'd make the blue and the purple a little bit more dark and dull. You can definitely color adjust so that they still match your other Sharkticons, but also come closer to how they looked in the movie. And just to spice the set up, I would actually include two Sharkticons, and I would include a retooling that would let you remove the faceplates of these Sharkticons and replace them with new ones. One of which would be the busted out teeth that Hot Rod punched in. The other one would be the subsequent one we saw a moment later where the face was clawed all the way down the middle. Just so again, you can have them in line with your other Sharkticons or Gnaws, and it looks correct. But if you want a little bit of flavor, you can swap the faces on. So that's immediate purchase for me, because I will always buy more Sharkticons and I need that hot rod. Beyond that, we know we are getting a noise maze. A Cybertron Sideways was announced by Hasbro at MegaCon. We know that is on the way. That is a toy with only 2 real repaint options. You have Ratbat, which I would absolutely take, a Universe Ratbat, but the other one is the mass production type. That's a very limited figure. In Japan, it was limited to 500 units because it was a DVD exclusive pack-in, the same as Red Excellion or Minerva in that line. It's a troop builder, though. There's a whole army of them in Transformers Cybertron. So, if you're going to do like an anniversary figure of Sideways, I figure like you also need to do a multi-pack that lets you mass accumulate this version of the character. So 2 in the pack, so you can troop build it, and you pack it in with the repaint everybody wants. The repaint everybody wants of Dark Nitro Convoy. It's a convoluted name, and as a part of this multi-pack, the character who never appeared in the US would probably get a rebranding as some kind of dark clone from Planet X. The name I came up with instead of Override was Final Ride, which is a play on the term last ride, which is to say the last ride you will ever take, aka a hearse. That's a little bit morbid, so we've altered it a little bit. Final Ride was the name was the name I decided on. But yeah, we're still waiting. Like, why have they never repainted that Override? Well, here's an opportunity. You multi-pack it as like an Invasion of Planet X multi-pack. 2 of the Noise Maze, and you do call it Noise Maze for this US release, and then a Final Ride is kind of like the main draw of it. I would buy at least 2, and I'd figure out what to do with the spare Final Ride after that. As long as we're talking about Cybertron, why don't we just run it back? Why don't we just run it back to an OG multi-pack? Mostly because we have new molds for both of these, and that Starscream is really, really pretty. That Starscream is so pretty in those colors. Yeah, I no longer... Oh, actually, no, I take that back. For a while, I didn't have the original Galaxy Force Starscream. I have since amended that mistake. I now own it again. But originally I sold it off because I got this Toys R Us version in the maroon colors. It made it look more like Thrust. And it looks so good in those colors. Frankly, I have not seen a color scheme on this mold that did not work. It's just a really pretty mold. So you could do this, and you could either go hard on it and make it toy-accurate Cybertron with bright white and brown. I think that looks ugly. You know what I would pack in? I would pack in the Galaxy Force version. Well, the Hasbro released Galaxy Force version. The Cybertron repaint. The gold and black's real pretty. I even like the orange accent. This is a way, way better repaint. So this would be the one I would pack in with the Starscream. Just as something of like a alternate universe showdown type thing. Because like Vector Prime is dead, but he's a Prime, so you can't really do that. And then Starscream's in some other dimension kind of thing. So you could play to that to come up with a theme behind the actual repaint set. More or less, I think it's just 2 really nice repaints. Now, the trick here is, since it's a multi-pack, you could actually throw in Safeguard. You could have the Minicon. And then it's another Minicon everyone asks for as an individual release so they can put it with their Vector Prime. Here's a repack I have mentioned multiple times. This is a multi-pack I have mentioned numerous times that I would buy instantly, and I have no idea why Hasbro has never, ever tried to touch either of these repaints. Where are they? Like, how is it possible that we have gotten a new Black Arachnia mold, and we have not gotten the Trigger repaint with the silver and the red eyes? How have we not gotten Predacon Rhinox? I will have you know, since Beast Wars came out, not only has Rhinox been reissued, by both Takara and Hasbro, but we've had multiple new Rhinox toys, 3 to my count. None of them have been repainted into Predacon colors, where it's a more dark purple instead of brown, silver instead of gold, a more toxic shade of green. Rhinox looks pretty good here. I have no idea why we have never gotten those repaints. Most Rhinox toys tend to be one and done for some reason, when a very obvious one is sitting right there. My name for this one was Power Corrupts. The Power Corrupts 2-pack. And I think it would work. I would buy it. Like, I think both of them look really good. I think both look really good in these colors. I think it's a enormous missed opportunity not to do that Rhinox at some point, even as a Generation Selects. Doesn't that seem like an obvious one? Masterpiece, we don't have any announcement of that either. No clue that that's ever coming out. I don't think it is. So, fingers crossed. We know those molds are still available, viable. Why do I not have these? I still do not understand this. Okay. We're going to get into G1 stuff now, and I gotta warn you, we're going in for deep cuts and weird releases. Okay? So, like, I want the deepest of the deep. We know Hasbro is willing to do literally anything right now when it comes to exclusive releases. So why not just go all out and go for, like, the deepest of deep cuts? Where is my Saltman Z and Saltman X? These are some of those that are kind of infamous in the fandom. Like, when the fandom was in its infancy and we were just finding out, online for the first time, that there were Transformer characters released in other countries that were never done in America or Japan. Like, these came from Brazil. These came from South America. And it's one of those joke kind of things like Saltman Z and Saltman X that were just, like, never meant to be in Transformers, but here they are. And they are official. Like, the companies who released them in South America had the license. These are real. Now, we know that Top Spin and Twin Twist got released in their Diaclone colors. One already and one pending. I am super excited for that Top Spin. But if we know those molds are still good to go, these two, please. I would love these two. Now, there is an alternate one. There's also a Top Spin that is red with yellow in the body. I think that might clash a little bit too much with the one that's coming out, though. I would rather this one with the white and green. And that's just me, like, basically just wanting one of my favorite molds in green. I will fully admit, this is a biased choice on my part. But I think they look better this way. Yeah, that'd be a fun one. And yeah, that's like, that gets into your, like, Emerald Zaron level of deep cut. And of course we have toys of him now too. Here's one I'm baffled doesn't exist. Where are Glyph and Tapout? Valentine's Day's tomorrow. Why don't we have a Glyph and Tapout 2-pack that's releasing tomorrow? That seems so blatantly obvious at this point. More to the point, how is it we have so many, like, redos of that Earthrise Cliff Jumper, and we've never gotten Tapout? How is it we have 3 different molds for Bumblebee between, like, the Netflix licensed Volkswagen, the Origins spaceship, and then, of course, the brand new 86 one, and none of these have been redone into Glyph? Are you kidding me? Ferrak, a far, far more obscure character who was only known as a BotCon release, and just a really weird one at that. He has a toy that came out at Walmart. No Glyph and Tapout, who came before and I would argue are better known than Ferrak. It baffles me. It genuinely baffles me. I kind of understand why. As far as I can tell, I think they're only allowed to use the Volkswagen mold for Bumblebee because when they went and did Bug Bite, they had to revert to the Cliff Jumper mold to release him. So I'm assuming there's some kind of contractual thing going on. Doesn't matter. We have options now. I want those options exercised, please. These two are very long overdue. Very long overdue. Yeah, multi-pack immediately, please, Hasbro. This would sell. This would sell in a heartbeat, and you know it. Speaking of heartbeat, let's be honest here. You gotta complete it, don't you? You've got 4 dead Autobots, technically 5 if we include the alternate universe Optimus Prime. You kind of have to complete the body pile at this point. Now, Wheeljack is easy. Of course, we've done that Wheeljack mold a dozen times, I think, at this point. It's Wind Charger that's tricky. His last figure, I believe, was Titan's Return. It's been a hot minute. And that mold is kind of dated and not scaled properly to the other mini-bots. He's one of those where I'm kind of like, wow, they're really overdue to make a wind charger to go with all these other deluxe mini-bots, aren't they? Like, he is a year one cast member. How does he not have a new toy? So we're still waiting on a wind charger, but you know the second that they get that wind charger toy out, they're gonna beg Target, please take in 2 more corpses. As I speak right now, my local Target still has the Ratchets and the Bronze set, and they aren't moving anywhere. No one has bought them yet, because no one wants to buy the corpses. It's just how that goes. But they'll do it. In some way they'll do it, even if it's a Selects release, a Pulse exclusive at some point. Yeah, they're going to do this set when we get a wind charger. How about these 3? So we've gotten tons of Seeker sets. We've gotten Rainmakers. We've gotten the Traditionals. We've gotten the Coneheads. This is, for lack of a better term, the welcoming committee from the very first episode, More Than Meets the Eye. I have argued for a while, we need a new Sunstorm toy. And this is the crew that he's part of. That's him, right there, in the back. But that said, the only one out of here that has actually gotten any kind of toy representation, I believe, is Bitstream, the purple one. And that is only because of that was a weird multi-pack they did, but that version of Bitstream is heavily burned from the paint apps. That I don't like. I would like a consistent set of these 3. We would have to use the Seekers from Siege, because these obviously never had Earth modes, and the only toys these characters have ever gotten were Earth modes. So to give proper Cybertronian ones, we kind of need that. My only thing, please find some way of making that blue one not just be like a different Thundercracker. Like, please someone figure something out to make him distinct. The poor boy is suffering from an identity loss here. Here's a multi-pack that is doable, but it's tricky. I would love a look at the past. I would love a 3-pack of just molds kind of going back to like the prehistory of Cybertron that only the Matrix and thus Rodimus Prime knows. The Flashback from 5 Faces of Darkness. One of my favorite scenes in all of Transformers. And one of the most important scenes, because it's where we get all the origin story. The one on the left, I believe, is named Tranus. That's the name we eventually gave to an early Decepticon commander. He is a recolored Junkion generic, so we can get him out of Wreck-Gar pretty easily. Obviously, the one in the center is Prima. We are getting a brand new toy of Prima this year. It's using that exact head design. We would have to give him his gladiator weapons, and we'd have to retool the chest for him to really look close enough. But I think that's doable. I don't think that's too much to ask on a figure like this. There's one thing about it, it's like, yeah, like we're getting that G1 Prima, but the colors are off. So there's absolutely room to repaint it. And then the one I've been pining for, the one I've been asking for years, which is the G1 Sentinel Prime on the right. We knew that as U-Haul robot forever. And that's just because of the shape of his truck. And that's kind of where the difficulty lies, in the shape of that truck that really doesn't have many, because it's like a rhino on wheels. It doesn't have a whole lot of modern toys that would depict. I am either hoping that we get some kind of Prime in the next 2 years that can actually fit that mold, or this is like the outside hope, I think you could maybe make a cup mold work, because the torso, like the front torso, ends up in the same place and the same angle, and it's in the vehicle mode, and the truck mode is a similar shape. You might be able to get away with it. It would just suck for it to be a deluxe. And I would want it to be retooled to look a little bit closer to this animation model. Like, particularly, like, if they could raise the shoulders up somehow. I don't know how. That would take some good remolding. But I've seen Hasbro do a lot more molding for lesser characters. I would love that. I'd love to see that. And, here's one that I know is not going to sell. I'm throwing this in at the end because it's the weirdest one. I know it's not going to sell, but you know what? I would buy it because it's just that weird. Remember the killing jar? When the Quintesson ship ends up on the opposite side of a black hole, this is how they come out looking. When they are in an alternate universe, these are the color schemes. Wreck-Gar and Cyclonus are easy, and I kind of like those colors. Like, okay, Wreck-Gar is garish, but I think it's a garish that's amusing. And then Cyclonus, I think, just looks good in gold with the hits of green. I think that works. I like that. They're not going to repaint Studio Series 86 Ultra Magnus into very ugly brick red and toxic green. Okay, that one don't look pretty. I don't want that one. So he would have to be excluded from the multi-pack. And you know who you'd have to sub in? You'd have to sub in the Alicon, who honestly, in the purple and red, I think looks good. I would buy that. So that's your 3-pack, is, you know, your Voyagers, and then one deluxe thrown in. That's your 3-pack. And then because you released that one, now you have people asking for the 86 Magnus, which you do as like a Pulse exclusive or work into some other weird line. You put out most of that set to raise demand for the one that's missing, because that's the only way you make that toy viable. That's an old toy retailer trick. So, I know no one would buy it. I want it, though. I want it. Doesn't it feel like something BotCon would have done if they stuck around? You give BotCon like 2 more years, and that's exactly what they would have released. If they were still around now and had the molds they have access to now, oh yeah, they would absolutely have done this a long time ago. But that's our list. Obviously, there's tons of multi-packs that I could include. Off the top of my head, you know, where's my Universe 1 Silverbolt and Razorclaw 2-pack? Both of those molds have not been repainted, and those purple boys would go great together. But we could go on like this forever, because there's so many new molds and so many repaints they've never gotten to. Give me an idea in the comment section. You know, like what is a multi-pack that would make sense to you? Whether it's a reissue set or just a set of repaints, whatever. This is your chance to be a little bit clever, and we might revisit this. If you want to hear more ideas, we can absolutely tap this one again. So that is it for me today. Thank you everyone for watching. I will see you next time. The day is getting closer. My journey is almost over. And when it is, our journey begins. The question is, when the stars align, will you be there?